Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers. Thank you for joining us for Super TV Showdown. This is the show where we review all of the superhero shows out there. We're talking
Whether you
Flash,
like it or not.
Arrow, Supergirl, Doom Patrol, Titans, Inhumans, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Defenders.
Say it.
Cloak and Dagger.
Are you kidding?
Smallville. Krypton.
Oh, yeah.
I think we got all of them.
Gotham.
Gotham. Lucifer.
Jeez.
What just happened?
I'm so sorry. We talked about that over at patreon.com/onlystupid answers, which you can find up here or over there. It depends on what part of the video we're at.
What you just did.
I'm sorry, but I can make it up to you by talking about Doom Patrol because there's a brand new episode out as we speak. It's hitting the DC Universe app right now, and I want to hop into it because this episode, Therapy Patrol, is one of my favorite episodes. I think we did a little powwow before we got started here, and I think we're basically on the same page.
I like that you were bringing up the description, but a gif of a cute cat actually showed up immediately.
Yeah. I got a little distracted. Yeah.
I've never met anybody who looks at more things like that than you.
It's good. It's a
You're
blessing.
always showing me things like cute cats.
Yeah.
You need it in your life.
Everyone else you know has worse lives than me because of that.
Yeah.
My life's just a smidgen better.
We're all scared. Most of it processed by yelling at other people. Just look at cute cats.
Like a cute cats, man. I saw this one was a mama cat hugging a baby cat. Why? Because love's real, and so is the love of this show, especially in Season 1, Episode 7, Therapy Patrol. After a violent outburst from Cliff, the team engages in some self-led group therapy, leading to some growth within the group as they knit closer together. Nice and vague. Dun, 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 dun.
Do they actually? But this is spoilers, which I'm glad because
We got to.
Yeah,
we have to unpack this episode.
Yeah, so this episode goes through each of our main cast members and basically just shows up. My interpretation was not this it is this specific morning, but it's not like, this is a kooky morning. For most of them, this is just how their mornings go.
This is their days.
Yeah.
And it's a nightmare. It is their day-to-days are nightmares.
I love the way that it was shot and shown, though, like that.
Yeah.
Like we just keep hearing 15 minutes, and that's our marker. And I thought that worked really well. And I'm sure we're going to break this down character by character. But overall, it just, because of that, and it was just one morning, it gave me such a deeper understanding of what the actual F these people are dealing with.
Oh, yeah.
Because we can say all we want, like, that would be hard if your body turns into Jell-O. But it's different to watch somebody
live that way.
You can't move.
You can't.
You're oatmeal on the ground, and if people can't hear you, you'll die there eventually.
Yeah.
You
So,
have to will yourself
yeah.
into being a person.
One of my
when
favorite.
people tell you to relax when you're not relaxed, the number one thing it does is make you not relax.
Yeah.
That's that on acid.
One of my favorite jokes was like, I was trapped in the furnace and nobody could hear me scream. What a great metaphor! It's like, no, that's what really happened.
No, that's what happened. So let's kick it off with Rita. That's the first person we really check in with, and we basically summed it up. It's a nightmare situation. Yeah. Props to the VFX department because when she's willing her hands into existence, and even it's great to see from two different points of view. You see Jane mess with her on purpose, and then later you see that Jane did that just to feel better about herself, which is shitty. That's mean. But you can see it's she's not fully put back together. No. And I'm a little confused of how she fits through things because she's still on a grate, and all of herself started to slip through the grate in different holes, and then all of a sudden she's in it. It just seems like a bad situation all the way around, gang.
Her self-affirmations are so legit because as crazy as this world is we've created, this was unbelievably relatable for me. Yeah. Where you're talking yourself up like, I am Rita, I am great. Mm-hmm. I am Rita, I've done well. I whatever it is.
I'm a good person.
I'm a good person. I can do this, whatever. That's me.
Yeah.
That is me in the mirror in the morning like, you've got this, Roxy. It's okay. You can do this. And then the flashes of all the things I've done in my past. And I'm like, go away. Yeah. I am Roxy. This is me. This is my arm. I know I don't turn to oatmeal, but I just felt for her.
On the inside.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
Everybody has those moments where you're just like, I can't get out of bed today, but again, on acid.
On acid.
And we also find out that in the flashback, all these, I think everyone begins with a flashback to them as children, which is an interesting creative choice.
I think so.
And we find out that April Property is the actress.
Rita
Rita Farr is a stage name.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting. And from as far back as she can remember, she's been going by Rita Farr. Yeah. So that she doesn't... what I got from this is that she doesn't remember what her name is. Does she know, or did she just kind of hint to, I don't know who I am, her outside of Rita, but I also interpret it as, hey, you've been alive for almost 100 years. It's okay if you don't know who you are anymore.
I don't think she knows her name.
That's fair. She's so focused on just keeping her body from not falling apart. You're allowed to not remember who you are.
Yeah. That was really depressing, though, because she was encouraged by the people that you're supposed to be able to trust and the people around you when you're growing up to do this.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself by your stage name. This is who you are. Her idol is clearly a bitch.
Yeah, for sure.
Was that supposed to be somebody that we know?
I didn't get that. I just thought it's just someone that she looked up to.
And just growing up like that and having to be Rita all the time. Like, that's exhausting. Mm-hmm. And you haven't used your name since you were 5.
Yeah.
And you do not know it anymore.
It's basically whatever that other name is doesn't really matter because you are Rita.
Yeah.
It's fun to explore that other side of you. If you can't die, hey, be a couple different people. Why not? Switch it up. But with that,
Speaking of other sides of people.
Oh, yes. My favorite story was Larry's. It was heartbreaking, and I loved kind of diving into more of the relationship with him and the entity. I know it has a name. I'm just going to call it that for my sake. Yeah. But also that we established that when the entity leaves him, he goes into like a fugue state where he's dreaming and he's seeing like all of his loved ones like burning, and it's like, oh, okay, so the thing we now know just kind of can control that just a tiny bit and tries to give him a memory that he would like.
Yeah.
And because like they're trying to work their stuff out. Cool.
Yeah. Is that what you got from that? That he was trying to give him a memory he'd like?
But I think so because he kept trying to go back and redo it and give him more things that he would enjoy from that situation. The day before that all of this went to hell, where his body is now poisoned to everyone around him, and he has this permanent hitchhiker. He is now sharing his body with another thing, and he's let everyone down. That's how I interpreted it. But then with Larry being honest with him, it could be that he's trying to show him the entity's trying to show him this memory, and Larry finally admitting to it. It could be a self-therapy thing there as well.
I think that the entity was trying to prove to... This is the first time I thought that entity was on Larry's side, and I think the entity was trying to prove to Larry it's not your fault. Mm-hmm. Anybody would have done the same thing in your position, which might not actually be the case, but it was the entity's way of saying, like, ease up on yourself. Because when finally Larry admits out loud, like, you don't know what I was going through, this, and this, and I was disowned and I did these horrible things, but, like, what else was I supposed to do? And then he comes back. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, so the entity was trying to prove to him, like, let him move on and forward somehow.
I like the idea of them moving forward because it's probably going to mean more cohesion between the two of them.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy that, like, Larry's not let off the hook, but you're able to understand him more, and that's what's really important. And it allows him to grow. Like, we can basically set a marker. It's like, hey, you did all these things. You lied to your wife, and you lied to your kid, and you lied to your lover, and you promised that you were going to have a life with them, but you kind of used all of them in a way for you to be happy because, yes, culturally, you couldn't have been happy the way you wanted to. So this was probably the best situation for you. Not for anybody else, but for you. So it's like, yeah, we can understand this. We can understand, but I like that he says, I gaslighted everyone I cared about, and maybe I'm not allowed to be happy. That's great. I love that we were able to address that. And we're slow. I love that it's like the kind of slow roll where it's not moving too fast, it's not moving too slow. It's just enough information where it's like the entity, maybe we'll never be able to talk to it. And that's actually, genuinely, that's okay.
Yeah.
It would be cool to have a conversation with him. But if he's able to kind of just help Larry pull himself back together eventually, I like that idea too. This memory game that he had was amazing.
I agree.
Was that Matt Bomer in the makeup?
I get that
think
feeling.
So, yeah.
Jeez, props to him for going in there.
It'll be harder to match lips to him than it would be to the bandage guy.
Yeah.
Because good for
that'd be a long makeup day for that.
It is just here.
It's
just here, but like it is a lot.
I just
you
like
can be in sweatpants.
Yeah, I just like that because again, we've said this before. It's just you worry that like Matt Bomer and Brendan Fraser are just cashing a paycheck and doing voice work. So when it's not that, it's really cool.
I agree.
And Brendan Fraser, even though we don't see him physically, he really does a lot with his vocal performance.
But at the scene after that, we get to learn more about Cyborg, I believe.
I think Vic,
yeah, with Vic, because we see Jane dancing around in like the garden, whatever, and you get to just see him like now he's unlocked some of his like parental settings that were on his system, and now he's able to explore more and be himself. He finds out that he did have a dating profile before the accident, and now he's trying to talk to girls, and they just want to know him because he's a superhero.
Yeah.
And you think that you're gonna get this light moment, this fun, like he's gonna be the one where it's like, oh, this is kind of fun, you know? He's the dating app, he's a little more millennial, whatever, and then it just goes the darkest so quickly. I was not expecting this. I was not
with
expecting
the girl that he starts hitting it off with.
Yeah, well,
I love the selfie.
First of all, with all of the people who want to only date him because he's a cyborg, and then the one person who doesn't, the footage that he can watch her, which is the ickiest thing.
Yep.
And I love that Grid's just like, you wanted to know.
This is what I'm reading your mind.
Which makes Grid scary.
Grid
Really scary.
Because like in the comics, he kind of just appears, and it's like, oh, evil cyborg. It's like really there's no development whatsoever. And in Injustice, again, he appears, and it's nothing. This is a cool way to set up Grid, where it's just like it's your deeper subconscious. He knows everything about Vic. He knows Vic better than Vic probably, and he can bring everything that Vic wants to life.
Something I like, I think I discussed this when we were on Super TV. Coming into this show before Doom Patrol premiered, I was least interested in Cyborg because we've seen Cyborg, been there, whatever. I have become so invested as Vic, and I think this characterization of him and this depiction of a situation where he is not a depressing person, but he's struggling. His life is a struggle. You know what I mean? And I think the characterization is interesting. I think finding little human moments like this really do. I really like the depiction of this character a lot. It makes me want them to do like a Justice League. I want to see him succeed. This is the first Cyborg I've wanted to see beyond the Justice League. I want to see him interact with characters like Superman and stuff like that. Like I want to see all these characters interact with like Superman and Batman because it'd be a very weird interaction. But like I really like what I think of the little vignettes. Vic's surprised me the most and got me the most. And
getting ahead just a little bit when it comes to them unpacking their baggage.
Yeah.
He specifically mentions his relationship with his dad, and it was finally like they do a good job of like showing you a situation, thinking you're understanding it, and they show you a new point of view that is justified and understandable why they think that way. Basically, he believes that maybe like his dad was controlling him, but also maybe his dad just doesn't trust him. His dad thinks that it's Victor's fault that their mom's dead.
And it also implies, I don't know about you guys, what were you going to say, Roxy?
Not just which he has a point.
He has a point.
Yeah.
If that memory's right, because I like the idea, it's like, I don't trust my dad. But what if that's the real memory? Or
they also imply in this one that you see that, and Mr. Nobody implies, oh, the memory's false. And so you think like the dad's like putting blame on Vic, but Vic presents it like, maybe I did something worse.
Yeah, and dad changed it.
And what could that possibly be in your life? And I was like, wait, I didn't even conceive of that notion that maybe Vic did something worse. And what would that be? Than killing your mom.
And then do we blame him for putting these safety procedures into your brain?
No, that's crazy. Like you're right, because you'd be like, oh, maybe that was the right call.
Yeah,
it's very scary, and I love that point of view. Victor, like Cyborg's a cool character.
Yeah,
finally he's getting his due. It's awesome.
Oh, also, just I love little like deconstructions like this when everybody's like, say booyah, and he's like, when have I ever said booyah? And Grid's like, you've said
36
it
36
times. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You actually say it a bunch.
It's enough times for it to be a catchphrase.
Yeah.
Which was great, and I liked the way.
But have we heard him say it yet? I didn't remember.
Maybe in episode 2.
Maybe
they threw us a bone a little bit. This might have been the first time. I like the way they used it here.
Yeah, me too.
No,
I agree, and I did like the way he was dictating his messages to the girls, and he could we heard their responses back with their inflection. It was a good way of we could also throw out interpretations. It's just let's see this is genuinely people are flirting. She doesn't know who she's really talking to right now. It was a cool moment, and it made it hurt even more that it's icky that he watched. That's gross. But also,
she's allowed to react like that.
However she wants, because that's the point of the going through a nap or whatever.
She's allowed to. She didn't go, oh my God, what a everybody look at this. She
had a private moment.
He said, I look a little different than I looked in high school. And then he takes a selfie where he's showing his robot nipples. My face would be like, huh?
Yeah.
You're confused. You don't know. You put your phone away for a little bit. Who knows? She might message him later and say something different.
So.
But she's allowed to feel that way.
Yeah.
And I felt like he looked at her like the villain in that situation.
I think Grid allowed it to be kind of viewed that way as well, because it's just base emotions. Maybe that's how the AI is interacting with it.
Yeah.
Having Grid have a voice too now is pretty spooky.
Yeah, I also like that. I think a lot of times with the depictions of Cyborg in the Justice League, to me, I would always figure the appeal is having a young character on the Justice League, and he's always the sad one. He's basically the thing of the Justice League from Fantastic Four. And so I like that going through the app and everything, it allows Vic to be a young man. and to see what his like, because it's like you don't think about like how would you date one if you're a celebrity, but also you're a celebrity because half your body's a robot. Like
I think there's a lot of draws to the this isn't the right word anymore. The community that like people who are amputees or what is that community called now?
I don't know.
I don't know anymore what the word is, but I think that a lot of people really look up to him, and that's like their hero because they feel similarly. I've talked to people with like these apps or whatever, and if you are missing an arm or a leg or something, sometimes somebody's not used to that and they're taking it back. So I think that like I'm loving how this show has representation for all different kinds of people, even 100%. Though it's not like exactly your thing necessarily. It's close enough, like with the LGBTQ community or with mental illness or with disabilities or whatever it is, or even just like Rita being obnoxious and like really bratty.
There's a place for you too.
From all different range, I think that it's super relatable for characters that are not of this world. In terms of like,
I agree with that a lot.
It's crazy how grounded this show is for being as weird as it is. And there's a weird element that we're gonna get to in a second. But next we visit Jane, and in this moment we're seeing that maybe there is a memory that she has from being inside the donkey. Such a weird sentence. And for the painting, just make sure that I remember what it was. It's Cyborg holding basically the body of Cliff.
Everybody's dead.
Everyone's dead.
It's basically a comic book cover where you got the one character holding the other character and everybody else is dead. It's an X-Men issue.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys ever think about like that's somebody's job on set?
They paint that?
Yeah. Somebody's job is to make that.
And they were different versions of it too.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Something that was interesting in this is we see some of Hammerhead, which we've seen before, but they established that when she's Hammerhead, she's got like a tattoo at the top of her chest, which I thought was an interesting distinction, but it made things challenging for me later because she starts acting like Hammerhead, but she doesn't have the tattoo. And suddenly all your guys is because I thought I was pretty on board. Like I can pretty much tell who's Jane and when she's Hammerhead and all this stuff. I felt pretty, and then that was happening. I was like, oops, never mind. I kind of understand what Sam and Roxy have been saying this whole time. I don't quite know who's talking right now.
I kind of don't know if there's another character that is very similar to Hammerhead but is not Hammerhead. And I've been sensing that for a little while now.
No, maybe it's just normal Jane. Maybe she's angry.
Yeah, maybe. Like, because Jane's allowed to have emotions. And sometimes that's angry. And that doesn't always have to be Hammerhead.
No. And it doesn't
have to be angry Jane.
Violent, it's not like kick you in the crotch kind of angry. Like she can be just upset. But maybe that's what triggers Hammerhead and it just amps up to 11, which I don't know. It was interesting to see her have the conflict between herself when they were destroying the tapes, and that was like really challenging because Jane had like genuine honest emotions as an individual personality where it's like, stop it, knock it off, like
don't do this to me or us or whatever.
Do you think her reaction to Robotman was that's why I assumed it was Hammerhead, because it felt kind of unmotivated. Like she was really angry with Robotman for seemingly an inexplicable reason.
We've seen that.
And when they're in therapy,
Remember when I said this to you guys when they were leaving after he had just murdered a bunch of people? This happens.
Yeah.
She gets really pissed at him, specifically him.
Yeah.
Frequently. And I don't know. And I thought that was Hammerhead who does that.
Now that you say that, considering the relationship is like supposedly a father-daughter thing, people who are more up to date on that Doom Patrol run than I am like to comment on these videos, but we see a little bit of it in this episode that she might have had a very
complicated.
Seems like a too nice way of saying it. She had issues with messed up past with her dad.
Yeah,
that made me crazy. That's probably the most uncomfortable I felt watching the show was the scene with the dad. It's like I don't.
Yeah, this is awful.
I don't want any of this. I don't want any of this.
Yeah, she probably would agree.
Yeah, probably.
No, but I do appreciate that, like that there is that like paternal type relationship between the two of them, and I understand her getting more upset with him because she does trust him. Because since the chief is gone as well, she probably saw the chief as that kind of person too. But the chief lied. The chief almost threw her in a hole basically, and then would forget about her. Because that is what happened.
I think that's why she was so offended when he says, I only like 1/64th of you, and I like more of you than anybody else. And it's like, that's such a low percentage.
Yeah.
That was a very tight line.
Yeah.
That probably went through a couple different people because that was really specific and really well put. Man, Cliff was going through it.
It was interesting. Cliff was another character, and I like it when a show pays this off. Cliff was acting out of character, and some of the shows we watch on Super TV, sometimes they just act out of character. So I'm glad that there was they knew what they were doing, a reason. But it was a reason that was started being set up like 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
If longer.
Yeah. I thought, I was pretty sure about halfway through this, because we see him acting so crazy that like something was malfunctioning, because I just didn't think they were going to do that to us where he was just in a mood, because what he was doing was not making sense. Like what he was screaming out was not making sense. And just when Cyborg comes in and nothing.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not his person. Like, that's not what he does.
He would have had a nice little dig. He would have had a thing. Yeah.
So I'm so glad that there was something in there. I guess in some ways that is a mechanical issue.
Yeah. Well, and I also like that when he starts, because when he goes and visits the other dad, I'm like, first off, I had to check my timeline of the day. Like, how long were anyway, because then Vic was like 15 minutes and it's 30 minutes later. Then I remember Vic had a whole other thing after that. So they had a full day. When he goes and talks to the other dad that he's pissed off about, and the other dad's like throwing the daughter on the bus. I'm like, what? But he seems so happy and all. And then you realize he's hallucinating. I was worried it was the traditional TV trope of like, oh no, they're in a mood, so they're hallucinating, which happens to people.
Yeah.
But it's not that.
Yeah.
Like it's not that, which always seems a little lazy to me.
No, he has a rodent in his head.
Yeah.
He literally has a rat in his
It's
head.
like it happens. It happens.
How
to
did
the
you
best of
guys
us.
feel when because I was watching like, oh wow, and then the rat comes out, I'm like, Doom Patrol, you sons of bitches, you got me again. And then the title card comes up, I'm like, I love this show so much.
I couldn't have felt more similarly. I
Mr.
also
Nobody.
love
Sorry, continue. Yeah.
just what we see, what happened with the rat.
Yeah.
And,
Mr. Nobody
and the
gave him a
baby
bath.
rat. I mean, that was just you feel for the rat.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like.
And so the rat was introduced with Ezekiel the cockroach.
Probably.
It
It had to have been the same rat.
It had to have been. If it's not, it's confusing.
Yeah.
So weird, man, and I love it.
But in the first episode, Cliff ran over Mama Rat and Mr. Nobody, who you feel like could just make Cliff malfunction.
or make them not exist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What are the limits of his abilities? We don't know.
He makes.
I don't.
Yeah.
He gives the rat a purpose.
Yeah.
He wants to commit revenge, and
What-
so he goes in and plays with the wires.
Yeah. Climbs into the hole in his arm that he got from when Vic blew up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Going back for a second, what do you think's actually happening with Robotman's daughter?
I think she's having a normal life.
Yeah.
I think she has a healthy.
And she
normal
actually thinks that dad is her, and she thinks that dad is her dad.
No, it's
Okay.
just he was there
He just
longer.
raised her.
Yeah.
And she calls him dad.
and maybe a better dad.
Yeah.
Than how Cliff
Do you
was.
think that this season we are gonna get something?
to her? They get to her.
I mean, we
Yeah.
got 6 more episodes. It's possible. It's more than possible.
We're getting a lot more of everything than I thought we were going to get. So I'm definitely thinking we can. I did just want to say as a direction I really liked, or I think maybe it's just it's the direction of this episode. When evil other dad brings out the shotgun, you see it light up at the end. I'm like, that's cool. That's a cool like blending of both realities. And you can see that Cliff is registering things that are happening around him, but like not everything's making sense. I would like to know what the rat did inside of him to make him hallucinate like that. Was he just like clawing at his brain or what?
Beep boop beep
when
boop.
his
you
leg
go.
switching. Brendan Fraser gives a great performance in this. So, and I forget I feel bad. I
forget
forget
his
the
name
actor
too, I
that
know.
is in the suit.
I got you covered.
God bless him.
I forget
'cause he's
both of their
He's
names.
in that suit, and both of them together give a very seamless performance, a very engaging performance for somebody who can't emote at all. I really like, and I like the scene where they all sat down together and they start trying to like work things out. So also, and again, I'm glad that they explained that he has a rat in his brain, because Cliff is such an ass through all of that.
Oh, it's just the worst.
Yeah.
You want to punch him in the face because it's like when Cyborg's like, stop. Like,
Yeah.
just stop.
Yeah.
Stop. And you won't. It was so good.
Robotman is played by Riley Shanahan.
Yeah, who
Riley
does the
Shanahan.
physical performance?
Yeah, physical performance, and Negative Man Matthew Zook.
Matthew
or
Zook. Riley Shanahan, Matthew Zook.
There you go.
Riley Shanahan,
You guys are
Matthew Zook.
doing good work.
The
God
Lord's
bless you.
work. Yeah, no, it's very. I really appreciate that
Thankless
they.
job.
I love that they sat down and just tried to talk because they need to. They're like, Mr. Nobody's 100% just pulling us apart because he knows things about us that we don't know about each other.
Yeah.
And also, they don't know each other, period. They watched TV together, they ate together, and Niles tried to make them talk, but they didn't want to because they had their own problems.
I also like, from week to week, I never really know what I'm going to get from Doom Patrol. Each episode, it's like, I don't, like, you watch most of these shows, like, all right, next week is going to be da-da-da-da. And this one, it's like, I don't know what I'm in for.
In all fairness, I felt the same way about Titans.
It's very
I
true.
just like this better.
Yeah.
But I felt that way. Like, I don't know what I'm in for.
If you guys are watching this and you are enjoying the show, let us know in the comments. And also make sure your friends are watching because I want more of this.
Yes,
content.
please, and thank you.
This is the number one most annoying thing about this show is that I can only talk about it once a week with you guys. My friends aren't watching it. And I don't know whether it's because there's not enough shows on the DC Universe app yet for people to have subscribed and be buying into it. But this show should be way bigger than it is.
Yeah.
If it was on Netflix, it'd be like the next Stranger Things.
It would be
honestly.
It would be huge.
Yeah, it would be like the Defenders. It would be, or just Daredevil. Excuse me, or like Jessica Jones.
Better
There you go.
Defenders, yeah. I know.
More
I think
popular.
Stranger Things is dead on. I think it would be just like that.
Because Stranger Things has enough weird stuff where it's like, okay, we can kind of like we followed enough. It's just a little creepy.
This show is as good as Stranger Things.
Oh,
and I love that show.
I might even say better. I think just character wise. But hey, doesn't matter. Any final thoughts you want to put out there before we rate it?
Let's do it. Let's dive right in.
All right, out of 10.
Rats in the brain.
Rats in the brain. There you go. Roxy, what would you say? Rats rolling around in your brain.
9.5.
9.5? Pretty good.
9.5. I will give it a 9 just because I really like this episode, but I still like that 2 episodes Roxy didn't like better. I like that 2-parter. I liked a lot.
Does it feel like there are rats in your brain right now?
A little bit.
You said it. They're like crawling.
Just nibbling with the little hands.
Could you imagine if you could have a rodent roaming around your body and you didn't know?
And you couldn't, not a hint.
Yeah.
Because he didn't see it crawl across and go inside of him.
Speaking of which, it was so cool to see him try to do human things. Like, not cool, but when he's throwing the chips at us, that's when I was like, oh my God, this poor dude.
I just want to taste something. I'm so hungry. I'd give it a 9.5 as well. I think I love this show the most out of anybody in the whole world. That's not true. There's probably some.
What did I tell you about the bowling shoes?
It's so good. I'm giving it 9.5.
I give it 9.5.
I give it 9.5. I give it 9.5.1.
What do you guys give it? Let us know in the comments down below.
Yes, of
Please
course.
like and subscribe. And also stay tuned to our social media, specifically on Twitter at Only Stupid Answers.
Yes, yank out the vowels from stupid.
Yank out the vowels from stupid.
Yank out the vowels from stupid.
There you go.
And because there's going to be exciting things coming next week as early as Tuesday. Yeah.
There you go.
We have a big announcement on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Big.
I'm part of I'm going to say my announcement.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Yeah, it's going to be, it's exciting. So please.
Where can they find your announcement?
Yeah.
No, at Roxy Stryer is a big one.
It's a big one. Buckle up, gang. What about you?
At DJ Talks Trash.
At Sam Basher. And yes, onlystupidanswers.com. If you want to listen to the podcast, grab some merch. But yes, on Tuesday, right here at youtube.com/onlystupidanswers, you will see an announcement. Also on other platforms as well. But make sure you like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. Click for Patreon over there so you can watch the whole review of all of our superhero stuff. There's a video over here. And then the same link to Patreon over there.
Do you see I raised the roof?
Yeah, right there. I almost burped in the microphone. I'm so sorry, but I
think you kind of did.
I think I kind of did, and I kind of did. I'm doing it for the viewers out there. Thank you. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And I just spit under the pop filter. That's why it's there.